By Q1 2003, Samsung is by far the largest player. The interesting thing though is that Samsung was not a player in 2010. So although we focus on the fact that Apple has come from nowhere, the truth is that also Samsung has come from nowhere in the phone market, and it did so in only 3 years.
Just for an example of some stuff that I worked on a couple of years ago was the way that if you're looking for real estate properties, if you're on a website, it's all about the kind of search and find and labeling. But when you're on an iPad, it's all about having big shiny photos and being able to sit on the couch and show your partner. And once you're out there on your phone, it's all about where are the houses, when are they open for inspections, how do I get in touch with the agent. The core logic underneath that and the business rules are actually the same, but the way it's presented and the interaction is very different.
Traditionally, enterprise have been more in this scaling mode, and startups have been more in the discovery mode. I actually think one of the things ThoughtWorks does is straddles these two divides. It sort of teaches startups how to grow up, become more enterprise-like, and hopefully begins to teach enterprises how to loosen up a bit and gain some of that focus on discovery.
If you're talking about mobile strategy today, you're probably already behind the 8 ball. Move on from that. When you take any kind of new product development, you've got to kind of understand what it is you're trying to do. So from a business sense, how critical is this to our business? And how differentiating it is in the marketplace.
Right, you might get to the point in time where you've built up this feature as in this idea, this massive idea that you want to do. But you get down to the point where you're coming down to the wire and your scope is already creeped beyond what you thought it would be and your timelines are way off. And you can say, you know what, let's ditch that feature. Let's forget that. Let's not do that. And it means that there's no more massive upfront design. There's no more investment into designing something that you may never build. And then that cost, what is the cost of not addressing mobile in a unique way? Right? Users are going to expect now that you have mobile capabilities and you have rich mobile capabilities.
It's how that software works with the hardware. This is especially true if you're targeting Android devices, where you have a mix of software and hardware buttons based on the handset manufacturer. The end result isn't just the automated testing, you need to think also about the handset testing. How much of that are you going to want to do?
What got me interested in this is this idea that we can create hundreds of millions of dollars of economic value from a small amount of code.
90% of effort is actually spent on staying still. And the 10% that's spent on the innovation piece is actually spent on ideas. And the biggest challenge is actually, how do you actually take those ideas to market? The business models, the structures, the incentives don't actually encourage innovation. Most executive salary packages are based on delivering today's revenue, not tomorrow's innovation. The change has to happen from the top.
Is there a way we can think about conducting experiments, finding out, making multiple, much smaller bets to actually drive innovation in a new way without having to spend that kind of money? If it's going to cost $8 billion or require rewriting the laws of physics, maybe we'll park that one for a while. But if it's an idea you'd like to tease out some more, even if it's kind of out of the box or it's not something you would normally do in your industry, go ahead and feed it into this iterative cycle.
You know, why we're so keen to work with ThoughtWorks is that we can see all this gold on the table. We have so much data telling us exactly where the dollars are. It's our execution to get to those dollars, and also our execution with still a limited pool of capital. People go, oh my God, it's so fragmented, where do you go? You know, maybe when you're a CEO and you're not bogged down in the detail of every day, stuff just floats to the surface. It just does. Out of all of the aggregated spaces, bigger stuff just seems to be winning at a point in time. And if that bigger stuff seems to be winning and it connects some of our dots, because our dots sometimes are a little bit different than other businesses, then it just makes sense that we should punt on it. Don't just make things that are cool and novel because we just didn't have the money, and cool and novel would disappear in days. You know, to try and compete in the space of being the most beautiful website, the most beautiful tool, really has very low engagement for the customer beyond a few minutes today. I mean, the amount of apps that get deleted as soon as they've been downloaded because of the still a limited amount of space you have on your smartphone and so on. You know, being cool is over in seconds today. And so you've got to be more than just that one moment of coolness through visual. You've got to be cool for engagement, something that lasts, something that's a real tool that customers will really value. And that's been what we've invested a lot of our time in.
Oh, I thought it's been great actually. It encouraged me because it feels like we're on the right track as an organisation, but it also challenges me to think that we've got a hell of a lot more to do. Continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous design, and now we have continuous experience with amazing content.
It's a few good conversations to have with the team when I get back to the office. Confirmation that some of the problems I'm having are shared problems, and a lot of people, conversations around the coffee urn a lot of people are having the same pain points as we are, which is interesting and reassuring that we're not completely out on a limb. I've seen some interesting topics around the mobile device sort of future strategy options that are on the table, and again a shared point for us is the pain point of the overheads in maintaining multiple major device footprints.
25 plus years in IT, you know, to some extent I've got to unlearn some of the things I've learned. You've got organisations have to reinvent themselves, and I think technologists probably have to reinvent themselves to some extent as well. We see the diversity of applications now and devices that just opens up a whole range of new analytics challenges.
IT was all about making good use of resources, and now we've got this superabundance of resources in terms of computing power and storage and so forth, and it's finding innovative, creative ways to make use of those that's the real differentiator.